Hello. Good morning, good afternoon. So, you guys are able to hear me properly and see my screen?
Yes, from
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for confirming that. So, let's get started, right? Thank you all for joining in. This is free Intune training provided by How to Manage Devices community, HTMD community, and this is our day 20, right? So this is our episode 20. So we've been doing this training, half an hour training, since last 20 days, right? So hope this training is helpful to you all, and it is helping you to learn in tune. So if that is the case, please help us to spread the news to the world, right? So that other people can also make use of this opportunity, right? Okay, so let's start today's lesson, right? So yesterday we had seen how Windows Update or patching works in SCCM and Intune. What is the difference, right? So just to recollect some things, right? Main point is this one, right? What is that? Basically, policy configuration. Policy configuration for Windows 10 is coming from Intune. No content, no metadata, nothing is coming from Intune to Windows 10, right? In terms of Intune patch management scenario through Microsoft Update or Windows Update for Business, right? The content, metadata, everything is coming down directly from Microsoft Cloud Service, that is Windows Update Service, right? So probably CDN, some CDN somewhere in the cloud, right? And some probably some DO, delivery optimization, with peers or something like that, right? If you have a lot more computers here, laptops here, probably the laptops will get, if you are configuring and you are using DO, delivery optimization, then laptops will get the content directly from the peer laptop, right? Peer machine. Okay, so that is a scenario in a high level. So we had gone through many explanations yesterday. I don't want to repeat that again. If you have not watched that video or you are not part of that meeting, please go ahead and watch the video. Yes, 19th episode, right? And you will come to know what all things we discussed. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so devices. If you want to create a patching policy, right? Windows similar to SCCM, right? In the SCCM world, what we normally do, we go to software updates and we create software update groups, etc. Right? So that kind of activity can be done from devices, right? And if I select platform as Windows, because I don't worry about other platforms at the moment, right? That is Android, iOS, Mac OS and all, right? So we are concentrating on Windows for now at the moment, right? So we are talking about Windows patching, right? So go to Windows 10 update rings, right? So this is the option for patching in Intune, and this is another option, right? So as I mentioned yesterday, there are two things, right? One is quality updates or monthly security patches, right? And the other one is feature updates. Feature updates is nothing but Windows 10 upgrades, right? 1903 to 1909 or 1909 to 2004, right? So that kind of upgrade is feature update, right? So let's configure Windows 10 update rings, right? Probably before configuring it, I wanted to show you the configuration on the client device, right? So on the client device, this is my probably host name, if I can type. host name, and this is my Azure AD joined device, right? I have, if you are not part of the previous meetings, probably you are not aware of this what we are talking. Please watch the previous videos, then you will get the details, right? So what is the difference between Azure AD joined devices and Azure AD registered devices, right? So this is Azure AD joint device. We have not deployed any policies from Intune at the moment, right? And you can see like all these policies are here. All these policies probably we are going to configure it through Intune, right? Even though it says some settings are managed by your organization, it means probably the device is already joined to Azure AD and MDM enrollment, right? So that is why it is showing like that, right? View configured for policies, right? If I click on that, there's nothing much, right? Only two things are there, right? And it says type group policy. So we will see like, will this get changed after we configure the policy from Intune or not, right? So let's get into that. If I can minimize this guy, okay. Okay, so I mentioned Windows 10. We will configure policies for Windows 10 update rings and Windows 10 feature updates, right? Both the things we will do, and we will see what is the difference between both, right? Okay, before getting into that, right? Let me show you one more thing. Okay, so what are the prerequisites of this patching, right? I mentioned about two things over here, right? One is Windows 10 update ring, right? And the other one is feature updates. So what is the prerequisite? Minimum Windows version should be 1607 or above or later, right? And for feature update ring, if you want to use that policy, that is only applicable for Windows 10 1709 or above versions of Windows, right? So there is a interesting feature of uninstall in this option, update rings option, right? That is only for 1803 and above versions of Windows 10. Okay, and this is important, right? If your organization says like, no, we don't want to send telemetry data, you are kind of disable the telemetry data, right, from Windows 10, then you won't be able to use Windows Update for Business, right? So basic, like you need to enable telemetry data, at least basic. Okay, then only you would be able to do that. You would be able to get the Windows Update for Business policies, etc., right? So if it's disabled, probably you won't get any feature updates also, right? Okay, so there are some limitations also. We will cover that in a bit. Okay, we will come to this in a bit. Okay, so let's create Windows 10 update ring, right? So Windows 10 update ring, if I click on that, and I need to click on this to create a policy or profile, right? So in Intune world, it's most of them is called profiles, right? Okay, but basically we are creating a policy, right? Okay, so create profile and give it a name, HTMD ring 1, right? So provide some good description. Okay, this is Windows update for business, ring 1 for pilot users, right? So pilot users or devices, right? Okay, slash devices. Okay, click next. And this is the brain of the policy, right? This is the main page, right? Update ring settings. First thing you can see, like whenever you see this symbol, right, you can hover your mouse over here and you will see more details, right? What is it, how we need to configure it. So this is quick help for Intune admins, right? Okay, so service channel, you know the service channel of Windows 10, right? It's semi-annual channel is there, right? Semi-annual targeted channel is there. This is only for 1809 and above. insider fast ring, insider slow ring, right? Insider release preview. So normally we don't use all these three options, right? Unless you are testing, you have a insider ring mission in your organization network, right? Most of the time I have seen like security people are not happy, or security team is not happy to have Windows insider ring in our network, right? This is my experience. I don't know in your organization how it works, but if you have insider ring missions, you can use this method to patch those devices as well, right? And to control Windows 10 updates for those devices as well. Okay, so normally I normally select semi-annual update, right? So semi-annual update is the best option for Windows 10 in organization, and you can select semi-annual channel targeted, right? If you are using 1809 and above versions, right? So what you if you are worried, if you don't understand what is the difference between both, probably you can look into the Microsoft documentation to get a better understanding, right? But this is just a cycle of updates, right? If you select this, the your cycle will be different and your update cycle will be different, right? So in terms of Windows 10 upgrades, right? So I'm going to go with the default value, semi-annual channel. And what are the updates you want to give to Windows 10 devices? For example, Microsoft products updates. You need all Microsoft products updates. Yes, then I will say yes. If you want to block it, you can block it, right? But I am going to go with the default value, that is allow. And do you want to deploy driver updates? So this is another policy coming from Windows 10, Windows Update for Business, right? So it is asking us that, like, whether you want to update drivers on Windows 10 machines, right? I will say normally yes. If your organization policy is that no, you don't want to manage, you don't want to update drivers, probably you have seen many issues when you do driver updates, then you can block it, right? For some set of mission, right? And deploy this particular policy to those set of missions where you are having problems with driver updates, right? And create another policy set for driver update missions, right? If you want to allow driver updates for some other mission, you can create another policy and deploy it to those missions, right? So I'm going to go with allow over here. And this is important, right? Quality update deferral period days, right? How many days we can put in here, right? So there's no date mentioned over here, right? But my understanding is it's 30 days maximum. 30 days you can put in over here. So for example, if I put 65 days, right? So it will say, oh no, it's not allowed. Okay, you must be configuring it between 0 and 30, right? So I'm going to say, okay, this is my ring 1, I need 1, right? Okay, I will deploy patches after 1 day of Microsoft release, right? Okay, if you are not speaking, can you please go on mute? Okay, thank you. And the other one is feature update deferral period, right? This is for Windows 10 upgrades, right? Or updates 1903 to 1909, right? How many days you want to delay that upgrade, like after Microsoft releases it, right? Or whenever the policy reaches this particular mission, right? Okay, so if I put, right, 600 days, probably it will say no, it's not allowed. Maximum value is 0, and it should be between 0 and 365. Maximum deferral days is 365, right? So I'm not going to configure this at the moment, because I'm going to do this configuration with the other policy which we are going to see in a minute, right? In couple of minutes probably, right? So you have seen other policy in the node over here, right? Windows 10 feature update ring. So over there I'm going to configure this policy, right? Feature update uninstall period. right? So this is what like something like happened to your 1900, you upgraded from 1903 to 1909, and you see like some of your business application is not working, so you need to revert that back, right? So you need to roll back that 1909 update, right? So you can do it like for 10 days, right, after the upgrade, right? For example, if you did the upgrade on 10th of May, probably you can roll back until like 20th of May, right? If your user is coming back and saying like for example 23rd of May, saying that no, I want to revert back to 1903, then that is not possible, right? So the default value is 10 days, right? Okay, so I'm going to keep that there. And this is the other set of policy. Okay, so let me see, what is this? This is update setting, right? This is core settings, right? Which channel you want to select, and what are the things you want to update, what is the deferral period, what is the delay you want to apply on these policies, right? And for example, this is the user experience part, right? How you like, what are the controls you need to provide to user, and what are the controls you want to provide to user, right? Or what should be the user experience for the patching, right? So automatic update behavior, right? If you hover over here, you will see manage automatic update behavior, scan, download, and install updates. So it controls scan, install, sorry, scan, download, and install. These three things, right? These are the three pillars: scan, download, and install, right? So automatic install at maintenance time, right? So this is the first option you have, and over here you can set the active hours. So if you are out of active hours, probably I understand, if I understand it correctly, if it's out of active hours, then that is a maintenance time, right? So it will do all auto install at maintenance time, right? If it's like for example, it will do before 8 a.m. and it will do after 5 p.m., right? Okay, so is there any other options available? Well, there are, right? So if you click on this option, drop down option, you would be able to see auto install and restart at maintenance time, right? So this is the same setting, nothing changed over here, right? So let me select. If you're wondering what are this option means, I will tell you in a moment, right? Okay, so auto install and restart at a scheduled time, right? If you select that, then the below options are changed now, right? So automatic update behavior, when you want to update, what would be the frequency of the update? Once in a month is fine for you, right? That is the normal SCCM world scenario, right? Or you want to do it every week, or every week, or first week of the month, second week of the month, third week of the month, right? When you want to automatically update these missions, right? So this is interesting option, right? I default option is every week. Probably that is the best option as per Microsoft. I don't know, right? So it depends on your organization, and you can compare this with your SCCM deployment behavior if you are using SCCM or some other tool to update software updates, right? Okay, or patches. Okay, so schedule install day, you can say like only I want only like Sunday, right? I want only like Monday, right, to install those, right? But the default value is again any day, right? And you must have seen this one, right? In many of the missions, schedule install time is 3 a.m. Okay, and in some of the devices I have seen like it's 12 a.m. or somewhere in the middle of the night, right? So this is also a default value. If you want to keep it, you can keep it, and if you want to understand what is it exactly, you can go through the documentation in details, right? So there is a great documentation available, right? So before moving to further into below configurations, I want to show you two other options, right? Auto install and reboot without end user control. Okay, so this is another option, right? Everything is managed by IT, so everything is controlled by IT. User doesn't have any option, right? This is kind of probably I don't know. Probably if you are a chaos, if you are managing a chaos mission or something, probably this is the best one, right? Uh, like whenever they need, they can restart it. There's no impact or something like that, right? So that is another option, right? And the third option is reset to default, right? So this is another interesting option. So we will see all these option details in a bit, so that's fine. And notify download. So the first option is like everything will be notified. Notify download is also will be notified, etc., etc. Depending on that drop down, the options below will get changed, right? Restart check, everything will get changed. So I'm going to stick with install, auto install at maintenance time, right? So I will say restart check, skip. Okay, if I want, I can skip it, right? What do you mean by restart check, right? So it is basically like battery level. It is checking battery level, whether it's on power or battery is more than 40 percentage or not. So this this information over here is very useful, right? If you are new to this updates, right? Update settings. Okay, so what is the pause option, right? So you have seen already, might have seen pause options over there in Windows 10 devices, right? So you can allow users to pause if you want, and some cases you don't want to allow it, right? If you don't want to allow it, you can disable it, etc., etc., right? Option to check Windows update, right? So many users go, many IT users specifically go to Windows update and click for update, new updates, right? If they are interested to get new security updates or something like that, right? So I normally do in some scenarios when I face some problems, right? Probably I will assume that okay, some patches will be there and that will fix the issue, and I will go ahead and manually update sync, do a Windows update check. So you can disable that also, right? From here, require user approval to dismiss restart, right? So that option is also there. So user experience option, lot of user experience options are there, and believe me, lot of things are coming soon, right? So this will be like, if you are seeing this after today is May 15th, right? Probably if you are seeing this video recording maybe like in December, probably these options will be changed, right? So Microsoft is improving a lot every day or every week or every month, right? And you will get lot more configuration options in the coming days, if I understand it correctly. And if like I have seen a lot of announcement coming in Ignite, Microsoft Ignite, which is last year, which happened last year, I think, right? So that is one of the tip I wanted to give, right? So other options are like remain prior to remain user prior to require auto restart, right? So you can say like what are the remainder hours you want to put. Probably the only allowed value is 2 hours, right? I want to put 2 hours for default, right? And this is all useful options, right? When I started Windows Update for Business in Intune, the options were, user experience options were 3 or 4 at that time, right? Only 3 or 4 options. Now you can see how many options are there. So it is amazing, right? Okay, so remind user prior to require auto restart with permanent reminder, right? you can you can put this also, right? If you have a requirement like that, if your business is saying no, we need user to be notified like 15 minutes permanently, right? Okay, I can say like 15 minutes, I will keep it 15 minutes, right? So Okay, so you can see the allowed values also, right, over there. Though those are like only allowed values. If I put 16 minutes, probably it will say an error, right? So it will say like 15, 30, 60. These are the only values allowed, right? Okay, change notification update level, right? So you can change the notification, right? Turn off all the notification, turn off including restart notification. You can like you can hide, right? So that is interesting option in some of the scenarios, right? So I'm going to go with the default one, right? So and the deadline option, you know what is deadline in if you are working with any other options, any other applications like SCCM or configuration manager, right? So if you want to set a deadline for the user, right, by this time, yes, I need to after 2 days probably I need to user needs to update, go through the feature updates like upgrade, right? So that is Windows 10 upgrade, right? I will say that okay, that's fine, 2 hour 2 days, or you can say like maximum 30 days, right? 30 days, right? Where is 30? Okay, 30 days, right? You can say that for this is for the feature updates, okay? And you can say quality updates. Quality updates is patching, right? So patching probably I want it in 1 day, right? So it's critical, or 2 days, right? Oh, I don't know why it's not coming 1 day. Okay, it says minimum is 2 days, right? So I will say patching 2 days. After 2 days, it should install. It should get installed and it should complete, right? Grace period, you can see like what is grace period, right? So specify minimum number of days after deadline until restart, right? So this is restart thing, right? So probably I can say like 1 day or 0 day, right? So user needs to restart after 1 day, right? So there's no other option, right? Auto reboot before deadline, yes or no? Okay, this is also interesting option. If the device should auto restart before deadline or not. Okay, this is also an interesting option, right? You want to set, if you want to set, you can set. Otherwise, like, it doesn't make sense, right? If you are set a deadline, then why do we need to auto reboot before the deadline? That doesn't make sense. But yeah, probably that is also good, right? If you want to test it, and if you want to see what is going to happen, right? If you want to test this with your ring 1 or ring 0, right? You can do this. So this is lot of configuration, and most of you might not have got all the points. I totally get it. So what you can do is, one thing, you can refer to the documentation. Other thing what you can do is, if you have a trial version, you try to do it, then you will understand it better, right? Otherwise, once the video is available, you can revisit the video so that you will get a better understanding, right? Okay, so let's go to next. And over here, this is assignment page, right? This is deployment, where we select groups, AD groups, Azure AD groups, Azure AD device groups, basically. Sorry. So you can select, like, if you want to deploy this ring to all the users or all the devices, then don't use custom creator Azure AD group or something. Use this default groups. This will improve your performance, right? Rather than creating an additional custom dynamic group to fetch all your computers or devices and users from your Azure AD tenant, right? So this is the best option, right? If you want to deploy this to all the users, right? If you have a specific ring strategy, like for ring 0 or ring 1, I need to deploy only pilot devices, like 10 devices, and ring 2 I will go with like 20 devices. If ring 1 is fine, then I will go with ring 2 with 20 devices, right? And ring 3 will be like 50 percentage of my estate, right? And ring 4 of the update will be like entire population, rest of the population in my organization, right? So that is the ring strategy you need to kind of make. You can use the same existing ring strategy of your SCCM deployments if you have something, right? Or any existing patch mechanism methods you are using in your organization. So I'm going to deploy this to my HTMD, all Windows devices, right? So all Windows devices. Before applying it, please check what is uh, like what are the members of Windows devices, right? So we are already reached 30 minutes, so I'm going to quickly finish this, right? And we will cover the rest of the things and discussions tomorrow, right? So these are the options you can see. You can see like all the configurations we have set, right? You can review it before hitting create. Please ensure that all the groups are and all the configurations are correct, right? I don't want you to deploy a pilot ring to all the devices in your organization. That will mess up a lot of things, right? So be very careful about that, right? So this is assignment part, right? Always make sure you go to Azure AD and check what are the groups, right? Azure AD groups, and then only like deploy it, right? So I'm going to create. Okay, so I have update ring 1 0 and ring 1, right? So ring 1 is the assigned one. I have not deployed anything, right? Ring 0 I have not deployed, right? So tomorrow we will see Windows 10 feature updates, right? This option, what is there in this, and why I set 0 day for one of the configuration in Windows 10 update, right? For related to feature updates, right? So what I'm trying to say is basically I have set this one, right? Feature update deferral period is 0. Okay, so it should get the upgrades immediately. So why did I do that, right? We will see that tomorrow. This that was related to this policy, okay, and the limitations explained over here, right? So we will cover that tomorrow. And before we finish today, if you are not gone through the documentation of this, right? So I'm going to ping in the chat window, right? Please go through the documentation and try to understand what are the policies available. Oh, come on, where is it? What are the policies available, right? And what are those policies, right? What is the exact meaning of those policies and methods, right? You can see like how many options are available, semi-annual channel, and you can see like product updates, what are the products covered, right? Driver updates, we if you want to disable driver updates, what are the things, right? Feature update deferral, right? You can see what are the options over there, entire explanation, all the details are available here, right? In the documentation, what does that mean, like auto update behavior, right? What is the meaning of auto update behavior? What do you expect if you configure auto install maintenance time, right? So I'm going to ping this also, right? If you get time, please go through this, and we can discuss if you have any questions tomorrow, right, about this. So I want to give another 2 to 3 minutes to answer some questions if you have any.
Sujin here, no?
Yep.
Can we where we can we monitor this patch?
Monitor risk patching is basically first level of monitoring is always like you can go to update ring, right?
Mhm.
You can click on this, and you can see like how many machines you deployed, right? Overview you can see
Okay.
normal kind of stuff, right? We have seen that with Windows 32 application, PowerShell application, PowerShell scripts, everything, right? Everything else that is in control monitoring, right?
Okay.
So if you are looking for a custom reports like SCCM reports, then that is bit more complex, right? So there is no out of box reports available at the moment for compliancy reports and kind of stuff like that, right? And you can monitor it over here also, right? End user updates, right?
Okay.
You can see over here also basic reports. But if you want more details about the reporting, that is also available in the documentation over here, right? There is a complaints report, you can monitor that through the telemetry data, right? Validation reporting, right? Update complaints is the option, right? Update complaints and complaints report for updates. So these are the options for the reporting, but you need to configure it. It's not kind of out of box, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So we can't monitor it from client side, right? You're trying to say. So once it is deployed,
Obviously you can monitor it from client side, right? For
will it appear
example,
in our portal,
say
company
that
portal?
again.
Will it appear in our company portal?
So I don't know whether you were part of you were there in yesterday's meeting or not. Okay, in yesterday's meeting we had the same question. Somebody asked where how we can kind of monitor it from client side. So that is again a method which you need to go through, right? So Windows Update for Business is handled by Windows Update agent in the client, right? So you need to go into event logs of Windows update agent, right? In event logs there's option Windows Update options there, event logs are there. So you need to go through that to monitor what is happening or troubleshoot, right? And you need to kind of monitor if you have a trouble with the policies, you need to monitor it from the Intune event logs, right? So this is Intune event log. Intune event log is MDM agent event log, right? So this is not Intune management extension feature. This is MDM feature basically. Okay. So if you, other point which you mentioned is company portal, right? So unlike SCCM, this won't appear in company portal, right? So this is basically notification. A user will get notification if you have configured like that. Otherwise, you need to go through the event logs for the troubleshooting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's clear. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
No worries, man. Okay, two more questions if you have any.
In this call starting, you Anup, you showed right the update settings, and you told that once we apply that settings will get changed.
Yeah.
So how soon that will get changed? Is like immediately once the application happen, or is there any time?
So it's basically the your updates cycle, right? Policy update whenever the policy update happens, right? It depends on entirely on your client, right? So for example, if client is already due to get the policy next policy in a few minutes, right? 2 minutes,
Hmm.
then immediately within 2 minutes you will get the policy. Client will get the policy, right? If it's like already updated 2 minutes before, right? We created the policy and deployed, then it needs to wait another 60 minutes or 8 hours, right? So we have
Okay.
seen we like from a MDM side policy update, some of the policy updates happens only after 8 hours, right? But if you want to update it manually, you can do it from a company portal, sync it manually from a company portal, right? So there are
Yeah, yeah.
it depends.
Hi, Anup. Jaswinder here. Uh, Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Anup, I understand that in Intune we get policies, unlike in SCCM, where in DP stores all the content, and from DP we get all the content to the client machine. So, what if there are more than one machine residing on the same subnet? Will the update directly be fetched from Windows server on each client, or Windows
That,
delivery
that
optimization can work in that scenario?
that's a good question, right? So earlier when we started in Tune patching scenarios, right, there was an option over here, right, in within the policies, right? Within the policies, there was an option over here to configure the delivery optimization settings, right? So if you go to over here, like somewhere here in the properties, you could you could be able to see like delivery optimization settings, right? At the moment, this is not there because this is moved out from the software updates. So delivery optimization agent settings are like part of other configurations, right? So if you have configured to get delivery optimization, if you have enabled that, yes, obviously you will get if same content is available on the other machine in your network.
Got it. Thanks, Anu.
No worries. Okay, last question.
Neeraj here. One question here.
Yeah, Neeraj.
Okay, so the question is like, if we configure pause for 10 days, okay, so the count will be from the release date or from the date when the policy is applied.
Okay, that's a good question, right? So pause, right? Search pause, right? So you will see all the details over here, right? So when the pause is applied, the whenever device gets the policy, it will start from that that day, right? For example, if device is getting the policy today, then the policy if my understanding is correct, from today, if you have configured the policy for 5 days, then the pause will be applied for uh, 5 days from today. If you are getting,
Okay,
if
so
the device is getting tomorrow, then the policy will be like pause will be applied for 5 days from tomorrow.
okay, for the first time, right?
I don't understand what you mean by for the first time.
Means for the first time, if I am applying the policy in all the production devices, so it will take precedence over the policy date when it is applied, right?
Um, Sorry,
So
I didn't understand the difference. Like first time and second time. What do you mean by that?
okay, please ignore the first date, like, but the preference will be like when the policy is applied, then the pause will take from there, right?
Exactly. That is
Okay,
what my
thank you.
understanding. And probably you can refer to the documentation, right, over here, and you can see like more, lot more details, and the explanation is very clear over here. All right.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
A lot of details over here, right? See,
Thank you. Yeah, I will see.
next time. See. Okay. Okay, so thank you all for joining in, and we will continue this on Monday, same time, same place. Hope this was helpful to you. Please provide us feedback, and if you have any questions, please use forum.howtomanagedevices.com to ask questions. Thank you all. Bye bye.
Thank you, Anu. Bye.
Thanks, Anup.
Thank you.